previous two video tutorials on TFIM development, I've shown you how to establish a TFIM development environment in Eclipse and import and develop a trivial custom STS module. In this tutorial, we're going to expand on that for another type of plugin for TFIM, which is not an STS module. In particular, I'm going to show you how to do development for plugins for an OAuth 2.0 federation. Again, I'm going to start at the developing custom plugins for TFIM Identity Manager in the TFIM Developer Works wiki. This article contains all the information you need to set up your development environment. If we drill down into the TFIM OAuth page in the Developer Works wiki, though, we'll see a series of articles that talk about extension points for other parts of TFIM, in particular for OAuth federations. Things like the token cache extension point, the external client provider's extension point, the trusted clients manager extension point. These extension points allow an OAuth federation to externalize data storage outside of TFIM for a variety of different objects. Each of the articles contains pointers to the TFIM documentation. It talks about use cases. It has sample Hello World style implementations of each interface. It has interface descriptions and so on. The formal Java doc for each interface that comprises a TFIM plugin can be found in the opt IBM FIM docs directory of your installation. And for these specific OAuth extension points that we're going to look at today, the Java doc can be found under the com2ly AMFIM protocols subdirectory. Okay, so switching to a quick Google search now. I did a quick Google search on my name and OAuth JDBC. The first article in that list points to a blog article that I've written, which talks about writing a set of database plugins for OAuth to allow database persistence of a variety of OAuth configuration data. I'm not going to read through this article. I'm simply going to point out to you that it's available and that it has a whole variety of information in it about establishing database, creating database tables, creating WebSphere objects for the JDBC provider, authentication alias, and data source, deploying the example plugins jar that is included with this article, and configuring it into an OAuth federation. But let's say we wanted to extend the functionality of that, or we need to support it in our own source code control system, for example. So I'm going to show you how you can build this plugin in the Eclipse development environment that we've established in the first two video tutorials. At the bottom of this article is a download for the plugins jar itself. So I'm going to pull that jar down and save it. I'm going to switch to my Eclipse development environment and do File, Import, Existing Project into Workspace. Select the archive that I've just downloaded. One thing that I did do with this development environment is in the problems filter, I configured it to show just all errors on selected elements and its children. That allows us to see errors with a particular project's build very simply without a lot of unnecessary warnings. See that this project, when I first import it, has a number of warnings. One of these warnings is that a particular package, javax.servlet.http, cannot be resolved. If you read the TFIM development tutorial, it will talk about, in the advanced development considerations section, a method for resolving packages using the com.2ly.am.fim.stk skeleton package. That's exactly what we need to do with this javax.servlet.http unresolved external, which is actually going to be resolved at runtime by TFIM's OSGI connector package, and the actual class lives in WebSphere's j2ee.jar. So here's how we go about doing it. I'm going to return to the development tutorial. In particular, I'm going to drill down again into the developing a custom Java module, in that article, under the Advanced Development Considerations section, it will talk about this SDK package. The package is available in the download section. Here it is here, the Skeleton TFIM SDK. I'm going to bring that package down and save it locally. And I'm going to go to my Eclipse development environment and do import projects in the workspace and the SDK package. That's now loaded. At the moment though, this package does not export javax.servlet.htp, and so the JDBC plugins project has no way of resolving it. So the way we go about fixing this is I'm going to go to my file system now and find my WebSphere installation. And you could actually pull this down from a WebSphere install on a runtime server. I happen to have a WebSphere installation as part of my rational install here. So go into runtime. So I'm just going to pull j2ee.jar from the base v61 runtime. And in the lib directory, this is just like a WebSphere installation lib directory, you'll find j2ee.jar. And I'm going to drag that into the SDK package and copy it there. See that the j2ee.jar is in that package now, but it's certainly not in the class path of that package. So I'll open the manifest of the SDK package. In the runtime section and the class path, I'm going to add j2ee.jar, and in the exported packages list, I'm going to add javax.servlet.htp and save that. Now, two things will happen at this point. First, if I select the JDBC plugins package, one of the errors has disappeared, and that is the one related to the javax.htp.servlet package being unresolved. You'll actually see in the plugin dependencies that the SDK package is now linked there. That happens because of that export that we did from the previous package. We also look in the manifest.mf of the JDBC package. In its dependencies section, it has in its imported packages list javax.servlet.htp. The import from this package and the export from the SDK package provide the linkage, and that's why the SDK package is now a dependency of this one. And we really deploy it to the TFIM runtime, a existing TFIM package called the TFIM OAuth connector package will resolve that javax.servlet.htp for us. However, the package still has build errors. In particular, it says it's missing a required folder source. When I first created the project and did the development, I had a source folder called src. When you export it and include source, it doesn't preserve that folder name. So what I need to do is simply go to my workspace and under the JDBC plugins directory, you'll see my source, which is actually com.tivoli.am.fim, etc., is at the top level. I'm just going to create a subdirectory called source, then drag the com directory under source, and do a refresh, and source directory is now there. All of the source packages are underneath it, and there are no more errors for the package. The package is now actually ready to do further development on, or we can export the package and use it. That's what I'm going to show you next. So I'm going to use the package as is. I'm just going to right click on it and do an export. Exporting a jar file. I have to pick a name for the package, so I'm going to call it com.tivoli.am.demo.new plugins 1.0.0.jar. Now, it's very important you don't just click finish here, but instead you click next and get through to the manifest file. And you'll see here that I do need to use existing manifest from the workspace, but the one that's currently listed is the one from the demo map that I showed you in the previous video tutorial. It's very important, and I said this in the previous tutorial, that you pick the manifest.mf from the package that you are exporting. So in this case, it's JDBC plugins manifest.mf. Check that every time you're exporting a jar file. If you get the manifest.mf from a different package, the plugin won't work, and it's quite troublesome to figure out why. Okay, I've now exported the package, and I can runtime environment, which I'll do now. Here's the new package that I've just exported. I'm moving it across to IBM TFIM plugins on my runtime server. Then return to the TFIM console. Go into Domain Management, Runtime Node Management. Click on Publish Plugins. And reload configurations. Now in this environment, I do already have an OAuth federation defined. That OAuth federation is using the plugins for storing things like the token cache in a DMAP, for example, and using the TFIM Management Console for an internal client provider, and using the cookie-based Trusted Clients Manager. But to use the new JDBC ones, I simply open the properties for the OAuth federation, and you can see if I pick, for example, the clients managed by an external client provider,